President Obama is looking to keep a campaign promise, pushing legislation to raise more money to repair the nation's crumbling infrastructure. But it won't be easy. Much needed repairs to roads, bridges, and tunnels may mean higher federal taxes and tolls. Hampton Pearson has more.
Hello, New York!
President Obama chose the construction site of the new Tappan Zee Bridge, a major crossing point over the Hudson River, getting a multi-billion-dollar overhaul to dramatize that America's transportation infrastructure is falling apart and the federal government is running out of money to fix the problem.
America doesn't stand still. There's work to be done. There are workers ready to do it. And not just rebuild one bridge, but I want us to rebuild every bridge.
A few hundred miles away, Vice President Joe Biden in Cleveland, making a pitch for new mass transit spending to boost the economy.
America remains the most dominant economic force in the world, and will continue to be the most dominant economic force if we invest in the future, if we invest in infrastructure.
Two separate funding crises are on the horizon. The Highway Trust Fund, which finances more than $50 billion a year in major projects, is running out of money, just as cities and states begin the annual repairs that come with warmer weather. The Department of Transportation predicts delays on more than 110,000 projects this summer and the loss of some 700,000 construction jobs in the next year. The chief source of funding, the federal gas tax, now at about 18 cents a gallon, hasn't been raised in more than 20 years, and it's even less likely in an election year.
We're going to have to figure out a way to patch that over the next couple of months to make sure that states aren't losing the billions of dollars that they're expecting, that we're not laying off workers. It's about 11% of the American workforce is somehow in infrastructure.
Meanwhile, the bill that governs all transportation policy expires at the end of September. A bipartisan 6-year plan to maintain current spending levels at about $105 billion per year has just been introduced in the Senate. The Obama White House is pushing a 4-year, $300 billion transportation overhaul to be paid for by gas tax revenues, business tax reform, and more tolls on interstate highways.
The Senate hasn't really talked about what they would use to fund the proposal. So while we have lots of good ideas for what should happen on the federal level when it comes to transportation, the revenues to pay for it is the real sticking point at this time.
With so many moving parts, the infrastructure overhaul will be like traffic in America's cities, subject to frequent stalls along the way. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Hampton Pearson in Washington.